G'day and welcome to my garage. Right, now the piece I have in the chuck, excuse me, is to make the adjustment nut here. So this is 22mm diameter. That's okay for what I need. I've got 18 here on the drawing, but 22 will do fine. M8 hole down through the centre of it. So I've got a 6.2, I think it is, drill in there. It's the correct size for it. Came out of the kit. 6.8 I should say, sorry. 6.8 drill. So run this through. This piece is 21mm long. I'll drill it 25mm deep and an M8 thread. So let's get stuck into it. I think I'll just clean up that outside surface. It's a bit rough. I think this is needs to be changed. That's better. A lot better. Yeah, I'll just cut that off. That's it, I'll break it off. I'll cut the rest by hand. Broke the cutting tool. Oh, anyhow.
Very nice.
Now I've got to cross drill it. Okay. Over to the mill. The scale that I have down here decided it doesn't want to work. So I've got to come over 630 thou to get to the centre of that nut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, 30. That looks pretty good. So this can come out. I've touched off the centre drill off the top edge, and I've got to come, and the centre of the cross bolt is 6.5 mil from that, so 6.5 plus 1.5, 7, that's 8 mil. So this scale is still working. So we'll come down 8 mil, a bit too far. $8 mil, let's lock that off.
Okay, 8 mil.
So we're centred both across there, and we're down 8 mil. Is that right? 8 mil. Dummy check. Doesn't look right. 5, 6.5. I'll just check that. Okay, that was right. So I can start. Should be breaking through, we are. Right, well, I've got that drilled. I've got to thread that, but before I do that, I need to machine these two pieces here as one block because they're slightly off to each other. So let me set up. I've got a 20 mil indexable end mill for this face mill. I'll set that up and machine those two top blocks. Bring you back. In your absence, I machined that side. I've flipped it around. I'm machining this side now. I know this vise is set up parallel, perpendicular, depending on which way you want. No, not that way. It's that way. So perpendicular to the bed. Anyhow, I know it's square. So I've taken a couple of cuts. I'm on my final cut on this side. It's a slow process because I haven't got high speed in this gearbox, and this is the highest range. Yep, this is the highest range in the low range. That's it. I'm machining 17mm wide, well, 2 flats for a 17 mil spanner. Just finishing off the last run here now. Beautiful. I've got to file off the two top parts. I suppose I could machine it, but I know I'll just file it. Alright, that's the flats for the nut. This is the top axle, the top pulley axle. It's a simple single step. That's hard to see, isn't it? Single step pulley axle. Single step axle. So there's a 20 mil section here that's left. Natural 25 millimeters, and the remaining out of the 73, the remaining section is 15 or 16 millimeters. I'm currently I've centre drilled, and now I'm starting to drill a 5 mil hole for a 6 mil thread in this end, and that end will have an 8 mil thread. Both will be about 20 millimeters deep. Now I've got to move you out of the way so I can machine that shaft. Works better when I press record. I've got 2 millimeters to come off. One mil of cut. So quarter, half. That's a millimetre.
This is a cheap pair of micrometers, 0.48. It's not balanced. Got to get myself a nice set of 0.25. No, hang on. Must be measuring wrong here. It's 15. It's 15. 0.49. 14.49. It won't fit on. And the spec sheet said it's 15 mil.
I shall continue to play with it. I've turned this axle around the other way. I drilled and tapped the other end, so now I'm drilling this out for an M8. The other side was M6. This is going to be an M8. That collar there, that piece of shaft there is 20 mil. So I'll drill this 15 deep because I don't want the M8 to intersect with the end of the 15mm shaft. So let's continue. and I will tap that M8. Well, the shaft is made, the axle, and it fits nicely into the bearing. So I need to make a spacer to go between the two bearings. I've still got to put this bearing in. The spacer to go between the two bearings, and then a cap to go over the end of the shaft and clamp onto that, the inner race of the outer bearing here, and make it all one, and tighten it up to make it all one piece. Two bearings, spacer onto this shaft. So that will be the next job, to make this make the spacer. I've got the bearing separator or spacer mounted in the lathe at the moment. Had a bit of stock hanging around the right outside diameter. Just bought a 16mm hole in there. I've got to get this down to 20.9. We're currently at 22.5. .2. That's 20.9. That's exactly where I need to be. And that's the spacer made. Well, that happened all the way through without jamming. Amazing. This piece will go on the end of the shaft and the bolt goes through and hold the whole bearing assembly onto the shaft. That's the piece I just made. It goes over the end of the shaft. The bolt through that into the shaft, and so I need to cut a couple of flats onto here so I can hold this shaft while I tighten this bolt up, or I tighten that bolt up. So over to the mill with that. Top pulley axle is now mounted in the vise on the mill. Just got to create the the two flats. I've already done one flat on that side. Doing the second flat so I can put a 17 mil spanner on it. That should only take about 1.5 mil. So let's go.
Unfortunately, the rotation is pushing up and not down.
That's it. It's a good fit. Take that out of there and deburr it. Okay.